focus on that will help us improve our productivity and effectiveness. In fact, if you would please, for us to begin this conversation, I want you to comment below, I am going to be effective. I am going to be effective. Make it personal this morning, right? You want to step into this week and you want to be productive. You want to create something. You want to be effective at the work that you do. You want to build progress towards your goals, your dreams, the vision that you have. You don't want to be stagnant or complacent. But instead, what you want to do, you want to move with a sense of urgency, and you want to make sure what you touch is fruitful. What you touch produces value. What you create is something that moves the needle towards success. I want to be effective. That is our goal. That's our objective, right? Now, I can recall when I initially started what I would call, I guess, quote unquote, my personal growth journey way back in like 2011. It's been some time, right? I can recall coming across this incredible book, right? Very small book, but it's very profound in its nature. It doesn't take long for you to read it, but there's so many powerful insights in this book. It's written by a man by the name of James Allen, and the book is entitled As a Man Thinketh. I highly recommend you add this to one of your books that you were going to read, right? Again, it doesn't take long to read this book, and it really provokes a lot of thought. In this book, James Allen talks about the power of our thoughts and the influence of our mindset and how our beliefs and our overall thought pattern will ultimately shape the life that we live, right? How the mind is the garden, right? And the thoughts that you plant are like seeds. And you get to decide which seeds you're going to plant in the soil of your mind. And whichever seeds you plant are going to determine what you produce, what you create, and ultimately what you experience. But in this book, family, James Allen, he mentioned a quote, right? And as I read this quote, it was one of those things that stood out, right, in the moment. But it really didn't make that much sense to me. But as I reflected on this quote, I began to gain a deeper understanding of the truth behind these words. And the quote goes like this. James Allen said that we are not victims of circumstances. No, we are creators of circumstances. And at the time, like, my mind couldn't really grasp the meaning behind that concept because, of course, historically, the way that I thought, I assumed that because of my circumstances or because of my conditions or because of my experiences or my upbringing or because of my current conditions, whatever the case may be, these are the reasons why I'm not where I ultimately wanted to be. And in that statement, he challenges that thought process. And he says, no, you're not a victim of circumstance, right? There may have been things that have happened to you, but you don't have to be defined by those moments. There may have been things that have taken place in your life, but that doesn't have to dictate what your future looks like, right? In other words, you may have grown up in poverty, but that doesn't have to stop you from becoming a millionaire, right? Historically, your family may have not have been the most healthy, but that doesn't have to stop you from adopting a healthy lifestyle, right? You may be the first one that has ever pursued higher education, but that doesn't have to stop you from getting your master's or your doctorate degree because you're not a victim of your circumstances. No, you are a creator of your circumstances. And I begin to realize more and more, family, on how each and every single one of us need to understand the power of identity, right? Because for so many people, they identify as the victim. And if you're taking notes, write this down. You'll never succeed as long as you take on the role as a victim. Again, you're not a victim of circumstances. No, you are a creator. Comment below, I am a creator. And I think the challenge for so many people is we stop being creators because we spend all of our time and our energy being consumers, right? Maybe we're consumers of our fears. Maybe we are consumers of our doubts. Maybe we're consumers of the noise on social media. Maybe we're consumers of the noise in the mass media. But nonetheless, because we dedicate our time, our energy, and all of our attention towards consuming things, we don't have the bandwidth nor the capacity to start creating the things that we truly desire. So it's very important for us to begin to identify as the type of person that doesn't consume, but instead we create. You create greatness. You create new results. You create new outcomes. You create new innovations. You create new ideas. You create newness all around you because you were created and destined to do that. It's in your DNA, right? You have that capacity living on the inside of you, but we have to identify with that. And ultimately, I want to talk about three things that will help us create the results that we want to experience as we step into this new week. Because I'm quite sure if you're tapped into this conversation, you have objectives, you have goals, you have things that you're aiming to accomplish, right? You may have annual goals, you may have monthly goals, you may have weekly goals, you may have daily goals, but nonetheless, there's something that you're working towards. And there's three things that we need to focus on that will dictate the results and the outcomes that we experience throughout this week. Here, I'll give them to them right now, and then I'll briefly break them down. Number one is your mindset. Everybody comment below. Mindset. Number two is your ability to start things regardless of how you feel. You don't have to comment below because it's a long statement, but nonetheless, maybe say that out loud for me. Your ability to start things regardless of how you feel. Then the third one is this: your level of persistence to finish the things that you start. Let's break down number one, your mindset. Your mindset. I know it's Monday, right? And for many of us, we wish that the weekend was just a little bit longer, right? For many of us, you're not necessarily motivated, but we have to understand, right? It's not about what has happened. It's not about what stands in front of you. Or what matters the most is who you decide to be and what you decide to do right now. And your mindset is going to dictate all of that, right? If we step into this Monday, right, and we're focused on what we don't want, we're allowing that negative energy to overwhelm us, we won't be effective. No. In fact, you may miss opportunities simply because you're dreading the day ahead of you. But when you step into this day with enthusiasm and an optimistic mentality, you can be aware of opportunities and possibilities that are literally right in front of you, right? Like, in fact, you may be experiencing some problems right now, and you're seeking and searching for solutions, but you're focused on the problem at hand. And because your focus is on that problem, remember, where your focus goes, your energy flows. So therefore, your energy is in sync with the problem at hand. And now you're feeling discouraged or even defeated, and you're missing out on possibilities and solutions that may be in front of you. So what we need to do right now is we need to curate and prime our mindset for success. You need to tell yourself this week is going to be extraordinary. You need to convince yourself that you can do some amazing and phenomenal things as you approach this week's opportunities. You've got to set yourself up for success beginning right here in your mind. Like I mentioned briefly earlier, your feet will never go any place that your mind hasn't already been. So what I'm saying is I challenge and I encourage us to visualize the results and the experiences that we're aiming to have as we step into this week. Allow your mind to be there. Allow your mind to visit the results and the outcomes that you're aiming to create. And someone may be saying, well, D1, that sounds crazy. It sounds taboo. It sounds unrealistic. I want to remind you, you do this every single day. In fact, this is how fear works. You're forecasting a future that has yet to be, right? You're forecasting things that can unfold in an uncomfortable way or a way that makes it hard to handle. And then that creates fear on the inside of you because you visualize something that you don't want, and that stimulates a negative energy. You can flip the script and change the narrative and see yourself winning and create positive emotions that allow you to show up effectively and productively as you approach this week's opportunities. It's a mindset thing right here. You got to win the battle from within. Win this battle from within, and you can be dominating throughout this week. That's number one. Number two is this: your ability to get started on the things that you want to do regardless of how you feel, right? Regardless of how you feel. There's a quote that I see going around where they talk about, I don't need motivation, I need discipline. And I subscribe to this quote, right? Because we're not always motivated, right? Motivation may not be consistent from time to time. In fact, D1, you may say D1 is extremely inspiring. He's extremely motivating. There's moments when I'm not motivated. There's moments when I don't feel like doing what it is that I need to get did, right? I'll be grammatically incorrect. But what happens is I've developed practices that maintain discipline, right? That help me stay consistent. In other words, I don't allow what I feel to dictate how I show up. Because the truth of the matter, family, if we had time, we'd break this down, but your feelings are often fickle. Your feelings aren't necessarily a true representation of what's happening and the experiences that's unfolding in your life, right? So we have to learn to stay focused on what it is that we want, right? What it is that we're aiming to experience and accomplish in our life. And we have to stay disciplined to stay consistent, to get started on the things that matter, regardless of how we feel. So, to that one, you may have woken up this morning and again, you're lacking the motivation. You don't necessarily have the excitement. You're not too enthused about stepping into this Monday. Your ability to get started on the things that you need to get done, regardless of how you feel, is going to dictate the results that you create this week. So, in other words, you have to place your feelings to the side, right? Place your feelings to the side and say, you know what, even though I may not feel like it, we're going to get the job done. I may want to do what's convenient and what's easy, but that's not going to get me to where I want to be. I've got to do what is necessary. So therefore, I've got to disrupt my comfort zone to step into an opportunity that can transform my life or potentially change the trajectory of my life experience. Your ability to get started on things that you need to get done regardless of how you feel. That's number 2. Number 3, we'll talk about this and we'll take it home. Your level of persistence to finish the things that you start. In fact, getting started is often the easiest thing, right? Anybody can get started. What matters the most is what we finish, right? Like studies have proven, there's many people at the top of this year that went and got a gym membership. And they're paying for that membership, but they're no longer going to the gym. There's many businesses that have been started, but many doors that have been shut and businesses that have shut down. There's many people that start schools, right? You look at schools enrollments, right? You look at college enrollments, and there's a difference between the enrollment and those that graduate. Because in many cases, it's not just about what we start, but it's more about what we finish. Well, D1, what's going to help us finish strong? What's going to help us show up consistently? What's going to help us get the job done? I'm glad you asked that question. Here's what we need to do. Everybody comment below. I want you to fall in love with the end result, right? Again, I want you to fall in love with the end result, because here's what happens for so many of us, right? There's a process that we have to endure to get to where we want to be. And that process can often be overwhelming, right? It can be challenging. It can be time consuming. It can be full of complexities. It can be confusing at times. And at times you may get discouraged. You may get disappointed or find yourself in a state of defeat. And because you find yourself in that state of defeat, remember, a lot of times we allow those temporary feelings to become permanent, right? And we make a permanent decision that's based upon a temporary emotion. And then we throw in the towel and say, I can't take it anymore. All because we're focused on the problem. We're focused on how we feel. When I say fall in love with the end result, I'm challenging you to shift your focus. And I want you to focus on what you're aiming to experience. I want you to focus on what you're aiming to create. I want you to focus on the impact that you're aiming to make, how your life can be renewed, how things can be different if you stay consistent. And you got to fall in love with that vision. You got to become one with what it is that you desire in your heart. You got to fall in love with what you're aiming to experience, right? And as you fall in love with it, as you see it in your mind, you start stimulating the emotions that are associated with it. And those emotions, if they're strong enough, will overpower those emotions of discouragement and defeat and disappointment. And you'll find yourself saying, I'm going to take another step. I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to find a way to make this thing work. I'm going to dig a little deeper. I'm going to jump a little higher. I'm going to reach a little further. I'm going to do a little bit more so I can get to where I aim to be, because you have fallen in love with the end result. And we have to understand it's your drive, man. It's your level of persistence, right? To be able to persevere when life throws you those challenges. It's not about what's happening. No. What matters the most is what you do with what happens. This is what's ultimately shaping the life that we each live. So you got to fall in love with where you want to be. Because when you put yourself out there, when you say, this is what I'm aiming to accomplish in my life, you're raising your hand for resistance. You're raising your hand for opposition. You're raising your hand for adversity and challenges. And those challenges are placed on your path not to defeat you, but to develop you. But for so many of us, we allow them to defeat us. And we miss the point. No, this challenge is to make you better. It's stretching you. It's helping you discover strength that you didn't know you possessed. It's helping you expand your capabilities. But what's going to help you overcome this challenge is staying focused on where you want to be. So here's what I say as I wrap up this conversation and conclude this broadcast. Again, we're focused on improving our effectiveness. We're focused on improving and enhancing our productivity. What's going to determine our results is us focusing on those three key things. Number one, your mindset. You got to get your mind right. You got to get your mind right. What did Lauryn Hill say? How can you win when you ain't right within? It's an inside job, family. It's an inside job, right? You've got to get your mind right. Get your mind aligned with where you want to be. Align your thought patterns with the life that you're aiming to create. Allow the story that you tell yourself to support the possibilities that you see in your mind. You got to get your mindset right. Then number two, your ability to start things regardless of how you feel. Everybody's going to feel that lack of motivation. Everybody's going to feel complacency at times. Everybody's going to want to be comfortable and want to do the things that are convenient. But you got to make up your mind. No, I'm not going to be comfortable today. I'm going to be uncomfortable so I can experience a life that I envision. I'm going to do what's necessary in spite of how I feel because I got to get started. I got to take steps. I got to get busy being great because there's great things that I've been destined to accomplish. So I got to step into that role and make some great things happen. The number three, your level of persistence to finish the things that you start. There may be challenges. There may be setbacks. There's going to be times when you hear the words no, people that don't see your vision, other people that doubt you, people that scrutinize you, others that don't believe in you, but you got to believe in yourself and persevere no matter what. And what's going to help you do that is you falling in love with the end result. I'm talking to the points that I like how in Victoria's episode in the Quest series, at the end of it, she talked about you got to think about it. You got to dream about it. You got to taste it in your mouth. You got to walk with it. You got to talk with it. You got to own it. You got to become it. And everything that you do, meaning when you show up is written in your forehead, right? When you move, people can see that you're working towards something extraordinary because it's a part of who you are. It comes out in the way that you speak. Everything that you do is a part of you because you have fallen in love with the end result. I say all that to say this, family, in spite of whatever happens this week, no matter what it looks like, no matter who doesn't believe in you, no matter what current conditions you find yourself in the words of James Allen, you're not a victim of circumstances. No. So don't take on that role of a victim. You are a creator of circumstances. So no matter what it looks like, no matter how it feels, no matter how difficult it may get, no matter how challenging it may seem, no matter how confusing or complex it may be, you have the capacity to create what you envision. But you got to believe in the power that's at work on the inside of you. Stop taking on this role and identifying as a victim. No, it's time for you to rise above that. It's time for you to step boldly into your future and own the responsibility of your personal power so that you can expand the possibilities in your life. It's time for you to make up your mind. I'm not going to be a victim anymore. I'm going to be a creator from this day forward. I'm not just going to consume things. I'm going to create some great and amazing things because that's what I've been destined to do. So whatever you're working towards, whatever goals you're aiming to accomplish, let's focus on those three key things so we can improve our productivity and enhance our overall effectiveness. If you slid into this broadcast and I was unable to give you a shout out, be sure to comment below. And also, if you're here for the very first time, or maybe it's your first time in a long time, put a number 1 in the chat and then place your first name afterward. I'll be sure to shout you out at some point in time during the broadcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, Put some fist in the comments below. Let your boy know you were picking up what I was putting down during today's discussion. Hoping that somebody somewhere found some value in this, whether you're watching this live or catching this on the replay. Talk that talk, man. You got to see it before you see it, or you will never see it. Shalia, I see you in the building. Fall in love with the end result. Fall in love with the end result. You got to identify with it. Yeah, Victoria, you got to get busy being great. Be so busy improving yourself that you are not distracted by things that do not matter. That's our focus this week. That's how we're going to stay productive and improve our effectiveness. Again, that's our goal. I want to be effective. I want to be productive. I want to be creative. I want to be innovative. I want to make a change and a difference, not only in my life, but in the world around me. So therefore, I can't get distracted by the noise. I got to stay consistent. I got to win the battle from within. Even though it may be difficult and may be challenging, that doesn't mean it's impossible. I'm going to continue to take steps. So, Leah, it's time to change my mindset and make some big moves. Come on now. Your actions got to be as big as your ambition, sis. Tanisha, I see you in the building. Great day to you. Excellent. I see the fist coming up here in the chat. If you will, please share this out with the people that you care about. Again, you never know how something that we discuss during today's conversation can impact somebody that you know. The way the algorithm works, when we go live or you post some content, not everybody that we're connected to gets that content. But by you sharing this out, ultimately you're partnering with me to help spread this inspiration, to spread the message. So again, if you're on Facebook, share this out right now. Hit that share button. It doesn't cost you or take much time. But ultimately, it's going to help spread this inspiration and empower somebody that you know. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button if you would, please, and then share the link out with at least 2 people that you know. For those watching this on LinkedIn, you can share this with your network. And for everybody watching this on X, formerly known as Twitter, please retweet the broadcast, and I would truly appreciate that. With that being said, if we have yet to connect on other platforms, what are we waiting for? At D1 Gibson is my handle pretty much on all platforms, including Instagram, Facebook, X, as well as TikTok, but I'm not necessarily too active on TikTok. But be sure to connect and subscribe to my YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/David Gibson. For those of us that have yet to subscribe, tap in. We've been discussing in many portions of today's discussion the Quest series. Definitely, man. Extremely excited about this season, man. We are 3 episodes in out of 7. We have the 4th one coming up this Thursday. My guy, Antonio Maxey from Indianapolis, of course. Nap or Nothing, doing great and phenomenal things in the apparel space. Just a creative, man. Ultimately, that's what he defines himself to be, a creative, and he's doing a great job at just that. An amazing story, and I can't wait to highlight his story. But ultimately, all of these episodes are available exclusively on YouTube, so be sure to tap in. Check out the other episodes. The Pink Tub is in the building. Hers is the 2nd episode of Season 2, an incredible story where you talk about a woman that was diagnosed, right, with breast cancer, but she did not allow that diagnosis to become her prognosis. And she made up her mind, I'm going to rise above what the doctors have said. And ultimately, she had some issues with her skin as she continued to navigate radiation and chemotherapy. And she put matters in her own hands and created her own recipe that helped restore and replenish her skin. Definitely an amazing story, and her products are nothing short of amazing. And side note, I'm giving her a quick shout out right now, but she does deliver ship out to all the states here in the U.S. So tap in, family. I promise you will thank your boy later. Connect with Butter. Get that product, her scent. Tastes like, or not taste. Victoria, I did not eat butter, but it tastes good, or it smells good to taste and eat. But nonetheless, there's some great lotion and great products, an amazing skincare line. So tap into her. I think her website is thepinktub.com. But check out her website again. You'll truly be inspired by her story. That's, again, available on YouTube. And subscribe if you get to do so. But with that being said, we're going to wrap this thing up. Malika's in the building. Great day to you. Long time coming. Hope all is well with you. But wrapping this thing up, again, you got dreams to catch and success to create. So each and every single one of us, we got to get busy being great. Now, before we do conclude this broadcast, if you find yourself in a difficult situation or a challenging experience, I want to remind you that this too shall pass. Let me repeat that statement in case you missed it, in case you didn't really feel it. This too is going to pass. I know it's challenging. I know it's difficult. I know at times you feel like quitting. But again, don't make a permanent decision that's based upon a temporary circumstance. As it gets rougher, you got to get tougher. Hold your vision top of mind. Again, fall in love with the end result and keep persisting until you succeed. One thing about the human spirit is that you can't stop a man or a woman that never gives up. So I challenge you to be that one that doesn't quit. In fact, you're unstoppable when you decide to be. When you make the conscious decision, I'm going to be unstoppable, it's at that point in time that your life will transform because you make up your mind. I'm not going to settle for anything less than what I know I deserve. So again, keep pushing, keep pressing. There's something that's going to come from this situation that you find yourself in, but you'll never get to it if you quit now. Keep taking those bold steps towards your vision. Eventually, you will get there. And if nobody else tells you that they love you today, remember, your brother from another mother, D1 Gibson, has nothing but love for each and every single one of you. With that being said, again, it's a great day to be alive. Let's take bold steps towards our goals and our dreams and focus on those 3 key things, okay? Let's improve our productivity. Let's show up effectively as it relates to our goals and our dreams and move the needle towards success. We'll be back at it next week, Monday morning, Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. is when we'll be live next week. And again, this Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the premiere of our 4th episode in the Quest series, my small business documentary series. Be sure to tap in. Well, with all of that being said, family, as we wrap this thing up, my wish and my hope for each and every single one of you is that today and every day this week, I want you to be effective, be successful, live with some passion, and most importantly, if you would please, 3 pounds to your chest. 1, 2, 3. I want you to be powerful. I love each and every single one of you. Have a phenomenal Monday and an incredible week. Until next time, peace.
I can hear the message loud and clear. I'm gonna make it. I can see my shot is here, so now I'm gonna take it. Gotta get up, get out, time to stand up, get loud, time to rise up off the floor. And I'm stronger than ever now, can't hold me down no more. I'm waking up, 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 I'm waking up. So I'ma do it right now.